Sin is a tool for oppression. The concept of sin is often presented as a divine decree, a set of rules handed down from a higher power to guide humanity towards righteousness. These rules are depicted as absolute, unchanging, and universal, meant to steer us away from wrongdoing and towards a path of virtue. However, a closer examination reveals a far more insidious purpose. When we delve deeper into the origins and applications of these so-called divine decrees, we uncover a complex web of manipulation and control. Sin is not about morality, but about control. It is a concept that has been strategically crafted and employed by those in positions of power to maintain their dominance over the masses. It is a tool wielded by those in power to maintain their grip on the masses, a weaponized concept designed to instill fear and obedience. By defining certain actions and thoughts as sinful, leaders can manipulate behavior and suppress dissent. Sin is a manufactured construct, a means of social engineering rather than a reflection of genuine moral principles. It is a carefully designed mechanism to shape societal norms and values in a way that benefits the status quo. The very notion of an all-powerful being dictating what constitutes good and bad is inherently suspect. It raises questions about the true origins of these moral codes and the intentions behind them. Morality, in its purest form, should be about fostering well-being, promoting empathy, and minimizing harm. It should be based on principles that enhance the collective good and support the flourishing of individuals and communities. Sin often serves to stifle natural human instincts, desires, and behaviors that pose no threat to others. It creates an environment where people are made to feel guilty for simply being human. It creates a climate of fear and guilt, where individuals are constantly scrutinized and judged against an arbitrary and often contradictory set of standards. This constant surveillance and judgment can lead to a pervasive sense of anxiety and self-doubt. This arbitrary nature of sin becomes even more apparent when we consider the vast discrepancies in how it is defined and enforced across different religions and even within different sects of the same faith. What one group deems sinful, another may see as perfectly acceptable. What is considered a grave sin in one context might be a trivial matter in another, highlighting the subjective and culturally relative nature of these supposed divine pronouncements. This inconsistency exposes the underlying agenda of those who define and enforce these rules. This inconsistency further reinforces the argument that sin is not about universal morality, but rather about imposing a specific worldview and controlling behavior. It is a means of ensuring that people conform to a particular set of beliefs and practices. By instilling a pervasive sense of guilt and fear of divine retribution, the concept of sin creates a powerful mechanism for social control. It keeps individuals in a state of constant vigilance, always wary of stepping out of line. It discourages dissent, enforces conformity, and ultimately serves to maintain existing power structures. Those who challenge the status quo are often labeled as sinners, further marginalizing and silencing them. It is time to recognize sin for what it truly is, not a divine mandate, but a human invention designed to control and oppress. By understanding the true nature of sin, we can begin to dismantle the systems of control that have been built around it and move towards a more just and equitable society. One of the most insidious aspects of the concept of sin is its tendency to criminalize natural human behaviors. This criminalization is not just a matter of labeling actions as wrong. It goes deeper, affecting the very core of our human experience. Actions and desires that are intrinsic to our very being, such as sexual desire, the pursuit of pleasure, and the enjoyment of simple, everyday moments, are often branded as sinful. These natural inclinations are painted with a brush of moral wrongdoing, tainting them with a sense of shame and guilt that can be hard to shake off. Even the simple act of questioning authority, a fundamental aspect of human curiosity and growth, is often seen as a transgression. This branding of natural behaviors as sinful creates an environment where individuals are constantly second-guessing themselves, feeling guilty for their thoughts and actions. This creates a climate of fear and repression, where individuals are made to feel inherently flawed and unworthy simply for being human. The weight of this imposed guilt can be overwhelming, leading to a life lived in the shadows of one's true self. Take, for example, the concept of original sin. This doctrine, present in many branches of Christianity, asserts that all humans are born inherently sinful, inheriting the guilt of Adam and Eve's transgression. This idea is not just a theological stance, it has real-world implications for how people view themselves and their worth. This doctrine places a heavy burden on individuals from the moment they are born, instilling a sense of inherent unworthiness that can be difficult to shake off. The notion that one is born with a stain of sin can lead to a lifetime of self-doubt and internal conflict. This notion places a heavy burden on individuals from the moment they are born, instilling a sense of inherent unworthiness that can be difficult to shake off. It also conveniently ignores the fact that the story of Adam and Eve is a myth, a metaphorical narrative rather than a historical event. This myth has been used to justify a wide range of moral and social controls. It also conveniently ignores the fact that the story of Adam and Eve is a myth, a metaphorical narrative rather than a historical event. This myth has been used to justify a wide range of moral and social controls, affecting how people live their lives and view their own humanity. The demonization of sexuality is another prime example of how sin is used to control natural human behaviors. Sexuality, a fundamental aspect of human identity and experience, is often subjected to strict moral scrutiny. From strict prohibitions against premarital sex to the condemnation of homosexuality, religious doctrines often seek to regulate and restrict one of the most fundamental aspects of the human experience. These prohibitions are not just about controlling actions, they are about controlling identities and expressions of self. To the condemnation of homosexuality, religious doctrines often seek to regulate and restrict one of the most fundamental aspects of the human experience. This regulation extends to who people can love and how they can express that love, creating a society where many feel they must hide their true selves. Religious doctrines often seek to regulate and restrict one of the most fundamental aspects of the human experience. This not only denies individuals the freedom to express their sexuality in healthy and consensual ways, but also creates a breeding ground for shame, guilt, and discrimination. The impact of this can be seen in the mental health struggles and societal conflicts that arise from such repression. This not only denies individuals the freedom to express their sexuality in healthy and consensual ways, but also creates a breeding ground for shame, guilt, and discrimination. The societal pressure to conform to these restrictive norms can lead to a lifetime of internal and external conflict. By labeling these natural impulses and desires as sinful, religious institutions exert control over individuals' bodies and minds. This control extends beyond the personal, influencing societal norms and laws that govern behavior. This creates a climate of fear and repression, where people are afraid to be themselves and to embrace their full humanity. The fear of being judged or condemned for natural human behaviors stifles personal growth and societal progress, keeping individuals and communities from reaching their full potential. Perhaps the most pernicious aspect of the concept of sin is its use as a weapon against marginalized groups. This weaponization has deep roots and far-reaching consequences that have shaped societies and cultures across the globe. Throughout history, those in power have wielded the concept of sin to justify oppression, discrimination, and even violence against women, LGBTQ+ individuals, non-believers, and other groups deemed other or deviant. This manipulation of religious doctrine has often been a tool to maintain control and suppress any form of dissent or difference. By branding these groups as inherently sinful, religious institutions have provided a moral justification for their persecution, further entrenching existing power structures and perpetuating inequality. This moral high ground has allowed those in power to act with impunity, often with the support or indifference of the broader society. Women, for instance, have long been targeted by patriarchal interpretations of religious texts, often portrayed as temptresses responsible for leading men astray. These interpretations have been used to control women's behavior, limit their opportunities, and justify their subjugation. From Eve's supposed role in the fall of humanity to the countless pronouncements about women's subservient role in society, religion has been used to justify the denial of women's rights, their exclusion from positions of power, and even violence against them. This narrative has been deeply ingrained in many cultures, making it difficult to challenge and change. Similarly, LGBTQ+ individuals have been subjected to centuries of persecution and discrimination based on religious condemnations of homosexuality. These condemnations have often been rooted in selective interpretations of religious texts, ignoring the broader messages of love and acceptance that many of these texts also contain. Despite the growing scientific understanding of sexual orientation as a natural variation of human expression, many religious institutions continue to cling to outdated and harmful beliefs that brand LGBTQ plus individuals as sinners, deserving of condemnation and even violence. This resistance to change has caused immense harm to countless individuals and communities. By scapegoating and demonizing these groups, the powerful maintain their grip on society, exploiting the concept of sin to sow division, justify discrimination, and silence dissent. This tactic not only harms the targeted groups but also weakens the social fabric, creating an environment of fear and mistrust. This weaponization of sin has caused immeasurable suffering and continues to fuel prejudice and inequality in the modern world. It is a reminder of the need for vigilance and resistance against the misuse of religious concepts to harm others. Only by challenging these narratives can we hope to create a more just and equitable society for all. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Freethinker's Journey.